Segui provando le lezioni quali?
That sounds terribly wrong, but yeah,
If you want to go back,
no.
Yeah, Kingston. One more teach.
where do we
End of the day now. So we
Where's the WC? But I think it's Where do we press?
Don't
What do we do?
Uh-oh.
Shall I see? I'll walk outside.
Do you want to go and step outside?
Yeah, I'll step outside.
Just curious, whereabouts are you based at? In the Brooklands. Oh, not sure. Okay, so I was wondering if you were going back then. Yeah, back to them and then finish. The driver will take it back and then I'll go on from there. Okay. Yeah.
I'll step back outside for a
Well, and also so we can do some sunset shots on the land. I think we can get some nice downs. I mean, Epsom would have been alright as well if it was the train, wouldn't it? So I'll put a little bonus on the end and something extra for Tom as well. I'll probably get some food when we get to Red Hill though before I get the bus home. The annoying thing is the first 200s after we get them are both single and the next two are double. So I'll put it Oh yes, because it's this one. It's this one, so you won't need to get on it. Unless the driver needs to take a break and we run it late, but I'll see what happens when we get that. I think because we've caught up so much time, we'll probably be okay to just keep going. So he'll have to have a break when he gets to Red Hill before he takes the time. But you'll be fine, you'll make it unless we back to you. Yeah, but Tom said, look, let's just get going, because if we bore it, then I can just have a break at Red Hill.
You're going on, so they are.
Yeah,
it's
all
the
aboard
same
is the
buttons
I
as
know.
Oh, yeah, I said you probably knew. I said cars
Thank you, take care. Everybody else, 418 Epsom, 3 forward now. Here, mate.
Hong Kong. They sent some of these buses to Hong Kong a long time ago. Did you hear?
Well, not the specific one.
When they retired these buses, they sent a whole load to Hong Kong.
Yeah, yeah, some of them, yeah.
Are there some there still? Are there still any there?
No, they are obviously all retired. We don't know. The regulations about preserving buses are much more strict in Hong Kong than here. So unfortunately, there's not that many buses that are preserved.
You can't preserve them.
It's just harder to preserve them in Hong Kong. Not just because of regulations, but because of money and having to find somewhere to park a bus. So, Hong Kong's land is something expensive, so it's hard to raise money to be able to reserve one and park it somewhere and take it out.
Right.
And also they don't allow us to do stuff like this, so they don't allow us to carry passengers in the way that we can here for free. Not even for free, it just doesn't happen. So it's a lot harder.
Right.
That's why a lot of people, when they preserve buses, some take it over here. So you may have known people have taken local Olympians and more modern buses, obviously, but they've taken buses here to preserve them. Yeah.
Gears work.
Well, I have a rough
He's
idea.
engaging first gear there,
Yeah.
which he doesn't normally do on a slight hill.
Yeah.
That's a pre-selector. So you put the gear there, you move the lever, and then you press the gear change. It's different.
So where's the gear change button?
It's left.
Oh, it's a plus. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
So you move the lever where you want to go there.
Yeah.
And you press the lever. Press the pedal to change gear.
Yeah.
See there you are.
I can see it. Yeah.
So
Because he changes the lever. He moved the lever before the gears changed.
Exactly.
So he selects it. Yeah.
Pre-selector.
Yeah.
So he's in fourth gear. He's put it there for third. So if he wants to change now, he's ready to go to third.
Yeah, that's really nice. Because the other bus, well, the one he was driving before, there was no pre-selector. So he was changing the gears as the gears were changing.
What type of bus was that? That's a Route Master?
Yeah, Route Master, yeah.
Yeah, some of the Route Masters had an automatic.
Yeah.
Some of them have a lever which, as I say, you change as you change. These have a pre-selector.
Yeah.
So that was engaging second gear. Now we're in second gear, it's about, and in a minute she'll change to third. She'll change to third. That's a bit of, it's going fast enough in case.
Yep.
The advantage of that is you can change gear when you go around the bend.
Yeah.
Without touching the wheel.
tight.
That's a tachograph. It's not the original speedometer.
Yeah.
They fitted that to monitor how it's being used.
Ah. Well, it's just not. It's not working, right? So it's just zero.
No, I thought it wasn't working. That's the top speed of about 43 miles an hour.
Right.
G'day. What? How are we doing for time?
Reasonable, about 5 minutes now. You can see on time.
Interesting how he's treating every stop as a tail stop. Is that how it was back then?
They used to have, I mean, there used to be two types of bus stop and request stop.
Right.
You will still see some request bus stops around.
Right.
But bus drivers are supposed to keep the stops so someone's going to do.
Ah, I see.
So you don't have to stick them anymore. A lot of people do.
And I mean, I often see drivers just driving past if no one signals. So it's like de facto a request stop for like many drivers at least. It's like at least 50-50, right? Because it seems like if you don't signal, then you run the risk of drivers just speeding past.
If on the buses you can press a button press a bell to say you want to put off. If it's a question of
Oh, I was talking about if you're standing at the bus stop.
If you're standing at the bus stop, it's best to step forward like you want to get on and stick your hand out to say things.
Although the TFL guidelines say that they're not request stops and that the buses should stop whenever they see someone. But that's just the paper. That's what TFL says. And it seems like that never happens in practice. The buses just fly past.
It's too much trouble to stop every stop.
Yeah.
What's annoying is sometimes the bus slows down, like the driver behind it. You think it's going to stop,
before you've got the chance to see what's behind it.
This person hasn't moved,
Yeah.
so he probably doesn't want to get on the bus.
Yeah. It's like whenever there's multiple buses coming at the same time, sometimes you can't see what's behind, and then before you have the chance to see what number is behind, that bus has overtaken the front bus.
Absolutely, I know.
It is annoying sometimes.
You have to, when there's two buses coming, you have to walk. Some have to walk away from the stop and signal the one behind, so he knows you want it. This bus there's always a start signal.
Yeah.
See, obviously with a one-man bus you don't have a start signal.
Yeah.
You know the bell that will go.
Yeah.
Which is and upstairs. If you press the button upstairs, it's a bus number.
Yeah.
As you probably know.
Although I do note how the buzzers, there's only like one buzzer at the back.
That's right. It's only the top of the stairs.
Yeah. So people who are upstairs have got to walk to the bell, right?
That's right. That's it. Well, they reckon. I think they think if you're going upstairs, you can walk about one of the buses.
So that was back then, right? Yeah. I mean, because now modern buses, the bells are at basically every row, almost every row, but they're on the handrails.
Several buses, several buttons upstairs and down.
Yeah.
And they don't make a noise now. They just light something up, I think.
Basically is just, well, I'm mostly trains. I mostly do trains now. So but I do like inaugural trains. So for example, tomorrow when they introduce this new 7:30 trains on London North Western Railway, I'll be on the first train.
All right.
So I tend to do. I'm young. You see, I'm quite young. So I like to do new things.
Yeah.
So yeah, look, this is more of an occasion for me because other people, friend people here as well, and it's a well advertised event as well. But yes, I mostly do new buses, new routes, if there's a new route, then I'll do it. So I've done all the super routes, for example. I've been on the first bus, so like 5 in the morning. The very first
You've been
journey.
You've been all the way around London and
Yeah.
You have?
Well, I mean, I'm a pretty big, I'd say I'm a pretty big transport enthusiast, so I know all my way around in London, I know all the buses, I know all the routes, I know trains, I know all the trains and the railway network as well.
Do you know the road network?
Well, the road network I'm less familiar because I don't really drive. Yeah, there's lots of it, but I don't really drive.
Alright.
So I know from the perspective of someone who rides a bus, then I know my way around it. I know, like, for example, I've been on National Express, and I've been on motorway through that, or charter coaches or whatever, but I don't drive myself.
You don't want to drive?
Well, I've been holding it off in the sense that it's more of a choice. I can drive, but it's more of a choice I've made because I guess it's more that I like public transport, so I want to use it as often as I can.
Right.
And also the fact that as someone from Hong Kong, I'm used to just relying on it, and I want to hold on to that.
Is it difficult to use a car in Hong Kong?
Well, I'd say you absolutely don't need a car in Hong Kong to do anything. People own cars as a luxury. If they're, for example, as a status symbol, if they own cars to say, I've got money so I can afford this Mercedes, for example. You don't need a car to do really anything at all.
How How far can you travel from central Hong Kong?
All over it.
How far is it? How many miles? Is it 20 miles or 50 miles? Or, I don't know. I just can't remember how big it is. It's complicated because the passenger is hanged up in China.
But yeah, but I mean, yeah, it depends. It's not a linear relation, right? Okay.
See here. See, he's having a compact steering wheel.
Yeah. So it's not power steering.
No, that's what I'm saying.
I'd say about 50 kilometers. It's not large.
50 kilometers, 30 miles.
Yeah.
That's not as far as the Continental.
Yeah.
The only M25.
Yeah.
It's about 40 miles between.
Yeah. It's more than London. But we have very good public transport. So we've got coverage is 100%. So you can go anywhere by public transport.
Is there much countryside? Is it much countryside? Is it mostly built up?
Well, there's still plenty of countryside left, but it's getting smaller because more and more of it is getting built up. But in terms of development, because most of the land area is undeveloped, because most of it is mountains. It's very mountainous. So basically, when we're saying countryside, I guess countryside in the sense that area that's not developed but also not mountain. There's relatively few of that left.
Are the mountains high?
Very high. But I mean, I don't know the exact figure, but they're very high. They're not like your typical.
Have you been there?
The last time was called 2019. 2019.
2019, right.
But they're really mountains. They're not like your Surbiton Hill. That's just nothing.
It's just like we hear about China taking control. People wanting to leave because they don't want to be run by China. So I don't know how it is.
That's why I've left.
Right.
That's precisely the reason why I've left. So that's why I'm not going back.
Because there was a deal also that they would delay to about 2040.
Yeah, that's basically they just ignored that. So they've just gone ahead and just shredded that. So it's not basically de facto doesn't exist for them.
When Britain signed the deal with China, I always thought, can you trust China?
No, you can't.
Well, that's it. You see, that's the point about signing the deal. Isn't it?
Well, I think it's more just that the British just can really hold on to it. I think the time is, I mean, it's not just Hong Kong, but I think the empire is just shrinking. That's the end of the empire. That's something that can be changed. So, like, I think in a way it was inevitable, it was going to happen, but again, yeah, you just can't trust them. So that's just the declaration is more of just, I mean, hopeful, or wishful thinking, I'd say.
Hong Kong should have had independence.
Yeah.
Rather like Taiwan. I mean, Taiwan, the Chinese never got control of.
Yeah.
Hong Kong's a bit small to be an independent country.
I mean, yeah, so basically, but the declaration at the time, I think, it's more just for the wishful thinking, like, oh, well, maybe they'll honor it, but of course, you just can't trust it, right, if you're realistic, so, yeah.
Are you mostly travelling London or far away? Into Birmingham, Manchester?
Well, I commute. I live over in London, so I live in Golders Green. So basically, I commute to Kingston. So it's quite pretty small commute, but I'd say that I go all over the country to film things and to enjoy the country. So in the sense that I've done things like I've been to whenever people introduce trains in other parts of the UK. For example, I was on the first Merseyrail class 777 train, or new stations elsewhere. Then I will go to those places and be on the first train that calls at the station.
Have you been on preserved trains?
Not like really old trains, because it's that's not something that I'm like super interested in. I'm more interested in I guess you could say trains that are 40 years old, because that's where my memory. But it's like for example, class 3 to 3, I'm not sure that's preserved in the sense that yes, they are preserving it, but when I wrote it, it was being retired, and they did a rail tour for that. And you know the 507s, in Liverpool, the Wirral electrics. So the one that's being preserved, right? But when I did the rail tour, they were still technically in service. Just about, they were technically in service, just like they're retired, but they're not, you know, at that time. So I was on that train, and then I was on a cross-country HST. So when they retired the cross-country HSTs, they also did a rail tour between, I think it was like, I forgot where it was, but I just did it between Swanage and Bournemouth. It was a longer rail tour. I think it went up to Derby. So I did that rail tour as well. But I don't usually do like steam tours, or, you know, trains are super old. I just do, like, you know, trains are in recent memory, basically. I was gonna take a photo. I remember this driver because I remember I was in, you know, Imber bus, right?
Yes.
So I remember his driver because we were like on a similar setting, like, you know, last bus of the day, etc. And then he just kept stopping by the side of the road, just taking photographs.
Right.
Obviously, you've got mines around, you know, the fields. But obviously, you just stay on the road and took a photograph of the bus. But
So you went to Imber?
Imber. Yeah.
Yeah, with the old village that's not.
Yeah, in August. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go again in August. It's a lovely event.
Yes, I'm sure it's a long way away. That's it.
Yeah. But do you ever go to these events though?
I have been to other things. Yes. I haven't been on this. They did one of these a month last year, actually, down to Red Hill, Kingston and Red Hill.
Yeah.
And I like these buses. I used to travel on these routes. It's coming. See, it's cutting out as you engage a second gear while it's stationary. If you just keep the revs going very slightly, I think you won't stop.
Yeah. Why we have the 20-mile-an-hour speed limits. It just makes bus riding boring for me.
20 miles an hour.
Yeah.
In Hong Kong, is it miles per hour in Hong Kong?
No, we use kilometers an hour.
Right. And what sort of speed limits are in Hong Kong?
So buses are capped at 70 kilometers an hour, which is 42 miles an hour on the motorway. So our buses don't really go that fast on the motorway.
No.
But on urban roads, urban roads typically are 50 kilometers an hour.
That's the normal speed limit?
Yeah, normal speed limit on urban roads is 50 kilometers an hour, which is 30 miles an hour. And however, so we have a lot of express buses. Unlike London, we have a lot of buses that like the bus will just pick up in the city centre and then run non-stop to the motorway to somewhere far flung and then drop off there. So it will be like if you were like, you know, the X68 in London.
Yes.
Now the SL6. So we have hundreds of these routes in Hong Kong that are like the SL6, which pick up in one location, take you far away. But obviously the SL6 doesn't have a motorway section, but we will have a motorway section. Or another example, 702, Reading buses run.
Yes, that still runs.
The one that runs from London Victoria to Bracknell and Windsor. So that's a perfect example of what Hong Kong bus will look like. Like you would pick up at a few stops in the city centre, so coming from Victoria to Hammersmith, and then you hop onto the motorway and you would just travel non-stop all the way out to somewhere and then some suburb and then there. So yes, the speed limit is quite slow if we compare to the UK. Like we only do 70 kilometers an hour, but we also the average speeds are higher because we just don't make that many stops. Do they trap people that are going over the speed limit? Well, they do now, but when I was on, so back in 2019, they didn't really. So it was bus drivers often, well, some bus drivers would drive over the speed limit. Yeah.
It's got very bad here.
Yeah, it is very bad. Because you can see, like 20 miles an hour, you can see that the buses are just like, you know, just like...
It's completely ridiculous, I think. Completely ridiculous.
Yeah, so it's like, well, I get why they're there, but it is, like, I guess, like, that's why I avoid using buses for long distances in London. I remember, like, in Hong Kong, I used to ride buses all the time. Like, for long distances, I would, like, catch these express buses from the suburbs into the city centre, right? But now I don't. I just use the trains all the time because it just feels too slow to me.
Have you been on National Express?
I've been on National Express. Mostly to get to the airport, really. Luton and Stansted, because I live in Golders Green. And they're amazing though. They're amazing though. Well, in the sense that I think the Katana Levantes on them.
Don't some of the National Express stop at Golders Green?
Yeah.
Are there some buses, long distance buses stop at Golders Green? They used to.
They do still. So most of the buses that stop at Golders Green are A1, A2, A5 and A6, which are the airport buses. But then you still got like 540, 460, etc., which are the long distance buses to Liverpool, Birmingham, obviously, and etc. Leicester, I've seen ones in Leicester, Sheffield, all these places. Of course, they're much less frequent, so there might only be like 2 or 3 a day that stop at Golders Green, and then most of them would skip it. You would still have at least 2 or 3 a day that would go stop at Golders Green. So it is convenient for me. And National Express is pretty good for me. In my experience, it's been okay. There have been a few times where they've let me down, but okay, fine, whatever.
There used to be 2 bus routes that got shorter. Until they used to go to
Yeah.
They've cut them shorter all the way.
Yeah, I have heard that so I have looked, it's not something I experienced, but I have looked at the history books and so it seems like the routes used to run much farther. You know, yeah.
Exactly.
It's just, I guess, just congestion and lowering speed limits and all that has meant that you can't run buses that long.
Well, it's just got worse. The strange thing is, the amount of traffic in central London and inner London is less now than it was 30 years ago. But the roads are slower. The congestion is worse. You wouldn't think it would do that, would you? Yeah.
So that's why I've shifted my focus onto trains. My interest, as a hobby, I'm more interested in trains now because trains are fast. And obviously, in Hong Kong, we've got the MTR, which is like efficient, you know, extremely efficient, but everything's the same. You don't really have a lot of variety, whereas buses, we have a lot of variety. Now in the UK, we have lots of trains that have lots of variety. You've got loads of things going on. You've got a sub-optimal network. It's not very efficient, but like, it is interesting. Like from an enthusiast perspective, the trains are very interesting. Whereas buses now, it seems like it's less interesting because all the bus routes are just local bus routes, and you know there seems to be less variety on the streets now.
Do you find the trains are reliable?
Not very reliable, but I guess it makes them interesting, right? That's the silver lining. I mean, in Hong Kong, we're not used to trains lasting past 125 miles an hour.
How much?
We're not used to trains lasting past at 125 miles an hour.
Right.
So
You've only zone 30 miles, it's not really worth having high speed, is it?
yeah.
High speed only really works for, what, 200 miles or more.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously now we've got high-speed trains up to China, other Chinese cities, etc. Of course, those are all new builds. So and that the section in Hong Kong is entirely underground, so you don't get to see any of that. So basically, you board a train, it's underground, and you end up in China, and that's it. There's no train spotting.
So you can go between Hong Kong and China without any controls?
Yeah, well, the passport controls are all on the Hong Kong side. So effectively, a part of Hong Kong now has Chinese law applied. So I guess it's like St. Pancras, in St. Pancras, they're accustomed rate it topped out at 40. So I've seen it when it was going at 40, and I know, but it didn't quite top out then, so I wasn't sure. Yeah.
The bus I came on before was doing 50.
Wow. Yeah, there's quite a few buses today. I know that there were like 6 buses down. Like not all of them came. But I still wish I was on the Leyland Nationals, because I think I've never actually been on the Leyland National before for some reason. It's just that at all of these events, it's just bad timing. I always end up on some other bus, usually a Route Master, or I don't know, maybe double deckers or scenic. That's why I always end up on double deckers, and I end up neglecting to ride the single deckers. So I've never actually been on the Leyland Nationals, like looking at them going past, like, oh, I wish I was in that bus. But yeah, hopefully someday I'll find myself on one of them. Basically, my storage is full, so this journey is, I'm not doing this journey anymore. So that's just deleted now. I was trying to do it, but I think I've ran out of memory, so I've just stopped it and just deleted this one. But obviously, I've already covered it this morning, earlier this afternoon. I mean, so I've got plenty of videos before, not for this specific journey, but that's fine because this is the last bus of the day, anyways. Yeah, I've already recorded this bus already, so that's fine.
It's a bit slower than the model bus.
Yeah, but I guess it makes more noise, right?
Oh, it's going to have the louder engine, I think that's right.
central London, free quid, right? We're talking about less than half of that price. So we've got fares less than £1, for example. A typical short distance fare is less than £1. Whereas here, it has to be at least £1. We're talking about £1.50, and central London £3. That's really expensive for us.
The bus fares are flat £1.75, isn't it?
Yeah, but then if you're only riding a few stops, then that's expensive.
It's expensive for a short journey, but you can go a long way for the same money.
Yeah. then your buses are very slow.
Well,
One thing I do know is that the bus stops in London tend to be very close
First
together.
stop we come to at the clock tower.
Other than the fact that we don't
Stop C. First one, yeah.
stops. Other than the fact that we don't have much express buses other than Superloop, but that's not really express to me. That's because they don't mostly go on the motorway, etc. But again, the stops are very close together, so buses tend to be quite slow. I feel, and from my perspective, they're slow. That's good. Yeah. So 150 is expensive for short journeys, and they're cheap for long journeys. Again, you're paying a price in time. The time you spend on the bus itself, that's the time you get. That's the price you pay for that. But it doesn't really matter. I have a travel card. I buy an annual season ticket anyway. Zone 1 to Zone 3. I think it's worth it because I commute every day basically, and also additional journeys. Like for example, if I go to these events, and obviously I have made additional journeys to and from that event, etc., going out and out, then that's worth it for me to get an annual travel card.
yeah. Excuse me, I'm going to talk.
Ah yes, you're getting off from Epsom.
Nice double check.
It's nice talking to you.